Hello and welcome back, Legionnaires. GGMarZhill here, bringing you another exclusive video for the closed beta access of Ancestors Legacy. It is another 1 vs 1 video from between myself, GGMarZhill, and Mary Jane Magic, a good friend of mine who's helped me through creating the For Honor Legends community. Today I'll be playing as the Germans against his Vikings, and I'm going to make this a non-live commentary video. The last video just had no commentary, it was just gameplay, but I'll be talking through as this gameplay carries on, as it plays through, and I'll be kind of winging it, so to speak. Yeah, we'll just see how this goes. It's just loading in as we speak. With the beta, it does take a little bit of time to go in, but I'll be talking through what I'm doing in the game, how the game actually functions, and the mechanics behind it, and how how you actually try to get the upper hand on your opponent. And this is I believe this is domination. I'll be able to tell you as soon as we load in. It's just loading. You'll notice that you can easily tell when people are ready, and then you can press a button to go straight in. So you're not actually left at a disadvantage. You'll see here, this is that was my initial camp, and I'm moving over my cleavers to the bridge, just to prevent any assault from him in the initial stage. Cleaver, the units in this game do have a rock, scissors, paper sort of like mechanic. One unit will counter the other more effective than certain units. So you have got your counters, you have your strengths, your weaknesses, and your troops as well. You'll notice when I select my unit again. Oh, and here we go. The first engagement, Spearmen. I didn't realise at the time, but I found out the hard way that Spearmen do have an advantage over my cleavers. I think that's generally because they're two-handed like sword wielders, and the spearmen do have a better advantage in terms of poking you. I'm guessing that's where the general gist of the counter comes from. So you see I get absolutely mauled and slaughtered. You'll also notice there are 2 red icons next to the actual banner of the unit, which indicate a debuff of sorts. As to why that was why that's been applied, I'm not too sure. It could have been the terrain that the units were in, but as I play the game more, I'll find out how different terrain or affect the effectiveness of troops. Just that building there where I'm running my troops over to, I have now just pressed the replenish button on those troops, so they'll get their units replenished. The full squad will be replenished in due time. And it's actually cheaper to replenish a unit rather than building one in full. So it's very important to keep a hold of your troops, like a whole squad. They also gain veterancy, and when they level up, you can then specialize them in 3 different types of, I guess you could call them, what it effectively changed them, so they're either more defensive, they do more damage out, or they're faster. So you've got your aggressors, your defenders, and your harassers, and I think that generally is the same for whether that is a ranged unit or a melee unit or even cavalry. So here I've gone straight to Mary Jane, and I've gone to count him before he claims that village. You claim villages by effectively going to the little village hut in the middle and throwing flames on it. You would have seen just there, I've set up a trap at the end of the bridge with my second group, just in the bottom right there. That trap there is like a pitfall with spikes, so any units walking across it will be killed. When you hover your cursor over that, it'll show a series of skull and crossbones. That is effectively how many units or men within a squad it will kill before it's depleted. So I've now just routed Mary Jane's units, and we're now capturing point C. As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, you've got the minimap with A and B in the top, point C in the middle, point D bottom left, E and F in the bottom right. Each point has resource points. So you'll notice at point E you have like a drumstick and a tree, so that'll give you food and also wood. The points with only 2 resource points, that being E and C, are far easier to capture. Those with 3 points, so F, B, A, and D, are harder to capture and will probably take 2 units as opposed to just 1 with the 2-point resource areas. This is a domination game. You can see in the top right, the more locations that you control, the more points that you gain per second, I believe. And it's the first team in this case, it's been set up for 500 points. So at the moment, because I'm controlling point C, I am gaining a 3-point advantage. You'll also notice just then with my cleavers, they've got some units which are damaged in there, and I set up them to go into camp mode and just replenish the health. You can also, with your with the villagers, you can set it so as they won't defend themselves automatically unless they're upgraded in the first instance. And you can also call an alarm so that the villagers who would effectively work on the resource points go into the hut and they become like bowmen inside there. You'll notice the border around the health for the actual village hut is in silver. There's 3 grades. You've got bronze, silver and gold. Silver being level 2 defense capability, and gold being level 3 and bronze level 1. You will have with the initial, you can only get 1 upgrade for your villagers, and that'll just keep it at it provides an extra group of villagers dedicated to solely defending the camp. So we're going back and forth here. I'm actually managing to hold point C quite well against Mary Jane here. Seems this is where all the combat is currently focusing on at the moment. I guess he could have, if he wanted to, he could have flanked me and either gone for point E or even pushed up to point A, because I'm just trying to hold. Just here you saw an example where I just leveled up my troop and I've routed them because I only had 3 men left in there, and I really want to keep that unit alive, especially since it hit veterancy level 2. I'm not too sure what the highest veterancy level you can get on a unit. The highest I've seen, I think, is either level 4 or 3, but I haven't managed to push beyond that. It just increases their combat capability and their effectiveness in fighting. You'll also notice very quickly, just before I scrolled away there, the level 2 squad. Actually, you can see it in the bottom left, bottom bar here. You'll see the first squad. The bottom of the banner says 2, and then a green foot, and then a cross swords. The 2 represents the level of the squad. The foot symbol represents what the current action of the squad is doing, and the green cross swords represents the specialization that I leveled that troop into. So it's far more effective in offensive damage output. Since the reasoning why I went that route is because against spearmen, and those spearmen, they're a direct counter to my units. However, if I'm able to do more damage under point C, with the arrows being provided by the defenders, then I'm more likely to kill more of his troops quicker, regardless of the direct counter to my own troops. So I've now gone ahead and got myself some bowmen. Throughout the game, you'll see the resource point gain is like a static per second generation, and you can only increase that value by either upgrading your town hall or by obtaining more villages and camps. So I've gone up to point B to go obtain a 3-point resource area, which provides wood, food, and also iron. Iron is a very valuable resource in this game. It allows you to upgrade your troops with armor, and it also allows you to obtain various upgrades, whether that's economic or to improve your actual unit's effectiveness in combat. You can also unlock various active abilities on your troops through these upgrades, and also through upgrading the tier system within your town hall. There's currently 3 tiers. You've got tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. At each tier it will either unlock abilities of the troops you already have on the field, or it will unlock your ability to recruit new troops out of your various recruitment buildings, whether that's a barracks, stables, or a archery range. Each faction, there's actually 4 factions in the game. You have Slavs, Vikings, Anglo-Saxons, and the German Empire. In this game specifically, I think Mary Jane is playing the Vikings and I'm playing the Germans. Each faction is very different in terms of how they play. Some factions may not have certain units compared to others, and their initial start unit is different. So you'll find that in the very initial first stages of a game, depending on who you are against, sorry, that's my phone vibrating. Again, depending on who you are against, you'll either be heavily countered in the first few minutes, or you will have the upper hand. So it's always good to note who you're playing against and scouting early, especially if you're in a random versus random situation. You'll see here that I'm just harassing Mary Jane with my archers. And here's another really interesting mechanic. You'll notice that it just turned into nighttime, so there is a day-night cycle, which introduces a really interesting mechanic of the game, where at night you have limited visibility, so it's a very prime time in the game to actually set up ambushes in case the enemy wants to charge over a bridge and attack you. Here my archers actually have an ability which increases their range of vision. We'll go back to it. You'll see in the bottom right hand corner the top left box on my archers was recharging. That was an ability increasing their range, and that's only specific to German archers. But no, I'm just dominating this game currently, 388 points to 111. I don't know why the points have become static. I think it's because Mary Jane has the equal amount of villagers compared to me, but it does seem to bug out somewhat. I'm now going to flank him from the top as well as from the bottom. Putting my torches on my troops so I can easily see where the enemy are. So torches at night increase your vision. You'll notice his troops didn't have their torches on, so I'm now able to flank him from behind and then use my archers to actually distract him from the front by setting his main village there, the main town hall, alight. So I'm going in with my cleavers. I know that both my cleavers are level 2 compared to his level 1s. You'll notice all the red boxes next to Mary Jane's units on his unit banners that's probably due to him not having enough food intake on his side. If you don't have enough food stockpiled, your troops will become their morale will be damaged, and also they will have reduced fighting effect, and so their armor will be reduced. They'll be more vulnerable to missile damage, more vulnerable to melee combat, and they'll also be slower. In addition, you'll also notice to the left-hand side of the unit banners, you have a yellow rain symbol, which is indicating that it's only light rain currently, and that affects the movement of your troops as well. That's the same with snow in this game. So if you're on a winter map, there'll be snowing, and that will affect your troops as well. So it's all these random events in the game. Particularly with weather, will affect how you time your pushes or time the best time to attack to take advantage of a particular like debuff, or when you realize that your enemy has got too many squads and they don't have the food income to sustain that number of troops. You'll go in and attack, and you'll probably be more likely to wipe out his army, even though you may have smaller amount of units. Usually, and you can see here the morale of his troops, which is the white bar above the health bar of the banners. You've got the little the health bars, the little green pips, and above that you have the white bar, which is the morale. So all his troops currently have 0 morale, so that's going to affect how they perform in combat. They're more likely to rout and return to base. But yes, you'll also see when upgrades are done on units, there'll also be a little blue bar above the white one, indicating the replenishment of troops or the upgrade of various, whether that's armor. I think that's only armor. You can only upgrade units specifically on a unit, but with armor. So currently I'm just at the back of my base. I'm now looking at my blacksmith. I've just purchased a economic buff or upgrade, which reduces the recruitment costs of various units, of all the units, by a very minimal amount. I think there's 3 tiers to that. You've got minimal, somewhat good reduction, and a very good reduction in unit cost. So, and each faction has different upgrades, economic upgrades. I think the Vikings have an economic upgrade which improves the income of all the resources, which is really quite strong, I believe. I think a strong income in this game will allow you to upgrade to tier 3 units far quicker. But I guess I haven't really experimented with how the which factions are better depending on what economic upgrades they have, because the upgrades for each unit, say armor, differs across all the 4 different factions. With the Germans, you need to purchase a building upgrade in the blacksmith, which is called the Empire's, I think it's called like an Empire, the German Empire's armament or something like that. Then you can start upgrading your units with armor, whereas the Anglo-Saxons, you can upgrade their armor from the get-go, but it's very expensive compared to the Germans. So the Germans have to pay like 100 iron for that upgrade, and thereon they'll be able to upgrade their troops for only 20 iron. per tier. I think it's up to twice you can upgrade the armor on a troop. Whereas for Anglo-Saxons, for example, you can upgrade from the get-go, but it'll be like 50 or 60 iron per upgrade on that unit. So there are differences in terms of how you progress your units and development in the game, which could influence how your build paths and what units you want to bring out. Yeah, this is all based on my initial impressions of the game and what I feel could result in various choices you make. Here I'm upgrading the speed buff for my units. They'll move around the map far quicker, and I've just purchased the damage output for my archers, so they'll dish more damage out to the units they're focusing on, and hopefully whittle down enemy units. You'll focus fire on a particular squad, that'll be wiped out, and so on and so forth. So I'm just protecting my bottom half of the map. You'll notice on almost every map there are funnels. These are bridges or canyon passes. It's not very open where you can just walk across anywhere. There is always funnels taking you to the other side of the map, which I think is okay. But at the same time, I think it makes the game very linear in what you can and can't do. But at the same time, you have to make a strategic decision to which part of the map you're going to invade. And how you're going to defend other parts of the map. You're going to leave one squad there, you're going to leave some traps, and then take all your full army to a certain area on the map and hold that location. So you've got to constantly be on your tiptoes and really look at where the enemy's going, which is unlike with For Honor. And For Honor, unlike I'm going to compare this to Company Heroes. You can actually create your own paths by destroying walls or hedges, etc, etc. In this, I don't think there is. But that will bring us to the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've got any questions whatsoever, please leave it in the comment section below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it, and also do not hesitate to smash that subscribe button if you want to see more content on this game and more content for myself. Become a Legionnaire Mars today, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao for now.